Hi everybody! I know that we're in some really unsettling times right now. There's a lot that's up in the air with finances. Some people are still on furlough, some people don't have a job, some people are just barely making ends meet. So I wanted to show you a really simple, easy way to budget. If you don't already have a budget, I highly recommend it. I think it would really help. It's something that has gotten us through this pandemic quarantine time right now. So for the sake of helpfulness, I'll be pretty transparent and just kind of go with my own frame of knowledge of what my budget is like. Everybody's budget is going to be slightly different from each other depending on what you're paying, what your house size is, but let's just get into this. We'll go pretty fast into it. So I actually have an app for this. It's called Good Budget. I downloaded it on my iPad. So on my phone, it actually is set up more personalized. So I'll like type in like, rent, and then I'll put how much that I need a month. This helps me really visualize where my money's going, but for the sake of this video, I'm just gonna do it on paper so you can kind of see it. But that's how I actually do it on my phone. It really helps. You need to look at all the things that is going out from your money. So rent is a big thing for me. Utilities, which I categorize very broadly. So utilities, I consider, water, electric, gas, even my phone bill is in there. And I keep like Netflix and, like Hulu, I keep that separate. And then I also have Prime in there too. So I keep those separate from utilities because my logic is these are things that while it would suck, I could get rid of one of these things to save money. If I really had to, I can get rid of these. These are not an essential where my utilities are essential. I have to pay those. Those are things that I have to have. I can't just stop having running water. So that's why I keep that separate. And then I basically keep all my car stuff separate. So that would include car payment and car insurance. And then I keep gas separate from that too, for the same reason why I keep Netflix, Hulu, and Prime out of my utilities fund, because if I have to, I can cut down on how much gas that I'm using. We can, drive less, we can go less places, we can be more conservative with how we're using our gas. So I keep that separate from car stuff for that reason. And then I also have, my fund, which I think is important to have. You can't just not have things that you are enjoying with your money. So these are the big ones. And then last but not least is my debt repayment, which some people don't have debt. And for those of you who don't, that's great. I love that for you. I love that for your journey. I have a lot of debt. So we'll go in now. And basically, you're gonna fill in all the things that are how your money goes out. So my rent is $1,500, which is ridiculous. For utilities, this really varies. This can go from like literally $100 a month to like $170, depending on how the weather is. Like, because the bulk of this is usually my electric bill. We run the AC a lot. I'm not gonna apologize for it. So during hot months, it gets on the higher end. Utilities can be a little more expensive. On the colder months, we aren't running the AC as much, and we're just using blankets. We don't like using the heater. So this, I'll kind of average out. I will usually put about $150 as my set budget, how much I would like each month. And then for Hulu, Prime, Netflix, that's about $40 a month. Minus a few cents, but I always round up. I don't like getting to the cents and all the nitty gritty and all that. For car stuff, we usually spend about $310 for insurance and for the car payment. And then for gas, again, this really varies. This can be anywhere from $60 to $80 a month. Right now, during quarantine, we're spending about $40 on gas. So I like to keep it at what it normally would be because this is gonna end eventually. So I'd rather have a good idea of how much is gonna go out. And then fund $500. It's kind of unnecessary that you're gonna be spending this much money. Oh, I forgot something huge. I don't know why I forget that food is an important thing, but groceries. I knew I was forgetting something. So debt repayment, I usually like to pay about $200 a month to my credit cards if I can. Sometimes I pay more. And then for groceries, it's about $600 a month. Now, I will preface, I'm in a 2-person house, so sometimes, these payments will be obviously different if you are living with multiple roommates. If you are completely living on your own and you don't have anybody else, this number probably is not $600. You're probably spending about $300 on groceries, maybe a little bit more. So again, this is going to be really personalized, but this is what you want to do to set up how much is going out every single month. And then from here, we're going to do some math. So that's why I have this lovely calculator here. So $1,500 for rent, and then we're going to average it out and say about $150 for utilities, and then for our entertainment stuff, about $40, and then for our car stuff, $310, and then for gas, $80. I'm not going to count fun because this is basically, I'll show it to you in a second, but basically anything that gets overfilled here will get dropped into the fund, and so then I know, like, if I overfill this by like $20, I know that I can just frivolously spend $20 on something. So I'm not going to include this in my budget. $200 I am going to include for my debt repayment, and then $600 for groceries. So that's about $2,880 that's going out every month. This is a lot of money. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. This is a lot of money, and it's mostly because rent is ridiculous, and if rent wasn't so high, then this would be a lot more manageable. So I'm going to look at this, and I want to divide that by 2 people, which this number is going to really change depending on how many people are in your household, how many people you are supporting, or if it's just you. If you are doing this on your own, I'm so happy that that's your journey. I could not do this on my own. I would need roommates if I were not in the situation that I'm in. So we're gonna divide this by 2, and this is basically what our equal share is every month. So both me and Jake have to come up with this much every single month. Can you even see that? I think I've run out of my page time because I don't want the ads to pop up from my calculator app that I had to download. This isn't even the app that was on the iPad. For some reason the iPad didn't come with it, so I don't want the ads showing up because I'm not giving free ad space to somebody who didn't give me ads themselves. So anyway, this is how much we each need to come up with. This is a lot less daunting of a number. If this is your budget, this can sometimes seem like a big number, and I promise you it's not. It seems like it, but it's really not. So then what I like to do is divide this. There's 2 numbers that you want to get this down to, 4 and then 5. And the reason why you have these numbers, so this one is for the person size in your house. So we're gonna personal and household, and then these are gonna be by how many weeks per month. So as you know, there are some months that only have 4 weeks in them. There are some that only have 5. So if you're looking at a 4-week month, we're gonna divide this number by 4. And so then you really only need to have $360 a month, or a week, that you need to be making for a 4-week. And then we're gonna look at the 5-week. So we're gonna go back to the previous number, which was $1,440. And we're gonna divide that number. Why did $1,410 come up? We're gonna divide that by 5. So then on a 5-week month, you really only need $288, which is, these are very undaunting numbers when you get down to these, which on unemployment, some people are making close to this, some people are not, some people are making very significantly reduced, which is what that extra income is helping to supplement. Hopefully the government will give us some type of boost in the coming weeks so that people are not just making $200 a week, because that's not going to cover your budget unless you move in an extra person, which, if you live in a 3 or 4 person household and you've got multiple roommates, this number is going to get smaller and smaller and smaller, but you're sacrificing comfort and all those other different things. So these are very undaunting numbers, right? Let's hypothetically say that unemployment is giving you just enough to make your budget, which for me, unemployment gives me just enough to budget while I wait for my job to call me back and tell me that it's safe to work again, which probably won't be for a long time. So basically, we have our little box that we'll put everything in on my app, my Good Budget app. It does this all for me. But basically, let's say you have, your $360 that you get every week. And so then you want to figure out which one of these is going to come out first and which one you need to fill up first. So rent is always the one that I fill up last, so I prioritize these. My entertainment stuff comes out throughout the month. These are all things that are very sporadic. So this is usually about kind of middle of the road for me. So I'll put that ranked usually at number 5, like one of the last things I need to fill. My utilities come out at the very end of the month. Same with rent, or that comes technically on the first, but for budget wise, it comes out last. So I fill this one up the last. Groceries, I fill up this first, and I make sure that I've got my envelope full of money so that at the top of the month, I'm set to go for the rest of the month. Anytime I need food, I won't have a problem, getting it. And then from there, my debt repayment, my credit cards, that comes out second. That's usually pretty early in the month. And then gas is another one of those things that is very sporadic. It comes out throughout the entire month. So I'll rank that at number 3. Car stuff is right before all my utilities, so I'll make that number 4. And then because these comes out all the time and it's only $40, number 5. Utilities, number 6. And then rent, number 7. So we're on a 4-week month, right? So we'll have $360 coming to us and into our bank accounts every single week. So what I like to do, and this may be where the math is going to get a little complicated, but what I like to do is kind of figure out okay, so $360, I want to allocate that to my groceries. So my first week is going to go exclusively to my groceries, right? And then my next week will go to groceries, and then the overfill will then go into my loans. Does that make sense? And then from there, any overfill will start going into the following ones as they're most important. So by the time that I get to this last week, it'll fill up my rent and I'll have everything completely full. Now let's say at the end of the month, I didn't spend $600 on groceries and I didn't spend as much on gas. All this will then overfill. So anything that's left over will then drop right into my fund or mystery option number 8, which would be a savings, which is important. And then you can decide how much you'll drop into, how much you want to just spend and blow and have fun with, buy a new video game, go and buy some Jack in the Box, or if you want to save that up, get a new car someday down the road. It's going to be in small increments. This is not going to be something that's going to happen really fast. These are slow processes, but this is the way that I make my budget work. Hopefully it makes sense, and hopefully this is something that can help you. I think a budget is really, really, really important for literally everybody. If you don't have one, I really think that you should, make one happen, and hopefully you can, do that and it'll help you. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.